Right, hello viewers. Welcome to another day at Sea Otter Classic. And we're going to take a look at a new group set from TRP. Actually shown last year at Eurobike, but then it's a prototype, but now it's much closer to production. And really exciting to have a viable alternative to Shimano and SRAM. So let's dive in and take a closer look.
And now back up again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 for 15 gears in total and a range of 528%.
528%?
Yes.
Wow.
More range than the 1052 mountain bike cassettes that we also have, and still tighter jumps between the gears for always the perfect cadence.
So you showed this at Eurobike last year. Has it changed much since that first public debut?
At Eurobike last year, we showed a very first prototype. Now we changed functionality. Quantum Shift that we introduced last year, which is an automatic shifting system, semi-automatic, has improved a lot since then. And now we're production ready.
And how soon before it's available to buy? What's the timeline, roughly?
We'll hit the shops with this product end of May in Europe and in the June timeframe in the US.
Okay. Can you give us a demonstration of how it works here in action?
Yeah. So here we have a cassette with 12 sprockets. So you would think like a 1x12 system. No front derailleur, but an integrated classified power shift hub with 2 gears, 1-to-1 ratio and a smaller ratio in the hub. And this in a combination mode that we call Quantum Shift gives you 15 unique gears in the gravel setup that we see here and 16 unique gears in the road setup.
This is the Vistar system.
Are there different cassette options, or is it just a one cassette option that you have?
Cassette options for road start from 1130 to 1134, and cassette options for the gravel version are 1136 and 1140, which sounds small, but 1140 in combination with the power shift hub gives you a total range of 528%.
How long has it taken to get to this point? How much testing, development has there been behind the scenes? Are we talking years and years to get to the point where it's ready?
Yeah, the product was kicked off about 5 years ago. Yeah, so it took some time, and at some point the decision was made on the TRP side to not build a front derailleur, but to integrate it with the classified power shift hub. And also, like, the classified team is super happy that it's the first group set to integrate the power shift hub as a standalone front derailleur replacement.
Yeah, we are seeing 1x become increasingly popular with 1x13. We've seen Mads Pedersen winning with 1x13. Do you think the markets, the consumers, are ready for this alternative approach to a group set where there is no front derailleur?
1x gives a lot of freedom to bike manufacturers in terms of like frame design. They don't need to account for a front derailleur mount anymore. They have the full freedom in the bottom bracket standards. Although a traditional 1x system has still its downsides with the big gaps between the gears or like the lack of range, like you need to choose your poison, which you don't have to do with Vistar Power Shift. You have the functionality of a 2x with the advantages of a 1x.
Thanks. And can we have a look at the shifters? What sort of Shimano-esque sort of 2-button design? Yeah,
shift logic is like the 2-button design, heavier, easier, but with the command app by TRP, like CMD stands for command, you can also customize your shifter settings and set up your shifting modes.
Have you confirmed pricing? Will you be sending a group set on its own, or is it more of an OEM that you buy on a bike, or be you offering both? And do you know roughly what sort of prices?
Yeah, with current tariffs a bit, causing uncertainty. Final pricing differs, or like is still TBD, but will be coming in to give a reference in between the Ultegra and Dura Ace price level. Okay. So we will not be at the very high end of the group sets. We aim really to be just like shy of Ultegra and Force Axis.
And that's everything you see here with the cassettes and the power.
Yeah, so it's actually like the classified part. Speaking in euros, like to give an idea, the classified part is 1,400 euros, the TRP part is 1,400 euros, so the group set part, including the power shift hub, will be 2,800 euros.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing it with us. It looks really cool. Hello.
You can talk to Colin about that one.
But, okay, anyway. Can you tell me who you are and where you're from?
Corey Pittman, Senior Product Manager for Outdoor Products at Wahoo Fitness, and we're based in Atlanta, Georgia.
And we have the new Bolt and the new Roam and Radar launching today.
That's right. So you guys know the Ace, that's been out since December, but we debuted this past Tuesday our new Bolt 3, Roam 3, and Tracker Radar outdoor products. So we'll get to Tracker Radar in a second, but the bike computer's here. So now we have our Gen 3 lineup of our new Bolt 3, Roam 3, and Ace computers. The Ace and the Roam 3 are touchscreen, so we've brought touchscreen to the Roam 3 bike computer. We've also included a speaker, just like we have on Ace, right? So you're gonna get your turn-by-turn directions, left, right, stay straight through the roundabout. The one thing it is missing that you get with the Ace, it doesn't have the wind sensor. So the Ace has the wind sensor, right? But they're all built on the same hardware technology, same screen technology, same software platform. So you're gonna get a very consistent experience across all of the bike computers. Yeah. They're coming in at $330, $450, and then $600 for the Ace.
Are the Bolt and Roam, are the dimensions the same as the previous one, or have it grown?
Slightly larger. So we had a on Bolt 2 and Roam 2, we had a 2.2, 2.7 inch diagonals. Here we have a 2.3, 2.8 inch. So they've increased in size, screen size ever so slightly. You know, and so moving from the Bolt 3 to the Roam 3, you get about 58% larger screen real estate when you do the XY. We also have the much loved, resume that, bike bell built into it. It's hidden behind the pause button right there.
One thing I see missing is the LEDs on the Bolt.
That's right.
They're gone.
We've removed the LEDs. We have increased the screen technology. So now instead of 64 colors, we have 16 million colors. And we're able to add the LED functionality, like signaling, using the screen itself.
Okay.
So it won't be running vertically or horizontally, but you're going to be able to change the data fields so you can glance real quick, see whether you're in a high heart rate zone with a red background, if that's what you prefer.
Yeah, I use the Roam too, and I find the color field is more useful for power and heart rate than the LEDs ever were. So
yeah, that's right.
I don't miss that really, but
yep. And so
might do, I guess.
We love the LEDs. You know, a lot of people did, but really it added volume to the computers, and so it increased the bezel size, and so we were able to fold that into the screen and provide the optionality. If you don't want to use it, it's not there, and it's not adding bulk to the computer. So you'll see that the screen size is actually larger, but you're not getting significantly larger computers.
Why not touchscreen on the Bolt? Is that a price reason?
A little bit of a price reason, but also once you get to this smaller screen size as a Bolt, you know, it's really your race computer, and the touch capability or the experience is not as strong on a computer this size. I mean, Apple does it extremely well on their watches, but in ride while you're bouncing along, it's really, you know, it's a harder, experience to hit the touch screen. So. But you know, the Roam 3, the Bolt 3, I mean, moving from one to the other, it's only $120 extra moving from that $330 to $450, but you're getting an enormous amount of value, we think, for that delta. So.
Up until now, between the Bolts and the Roam, which has been the biggest seller roughly in terms of units?
Well, so the Bolt's always been our biggest seller, but you'd be surprised how big of a seller the Roam actually is. So for that additional money, you know, it's not like we're seeing a drop off with the Roam. The Roam's super popular, you know.
I like the Roam because it's just a sweet spot between the sides. It's still quite small, but bigger screen for navigation, easy to read with my poor eyesight. Yeah, Ace has been out for a few months now.
Yeah, the Ace has been out since December, and so this is our, you know, people. We talked to our customers before we built the Ace, and they said we want a large screen, and so it's pretty provocative. We went with the larger screen.
Yeah.
Some people love it, some people hate it, you know, but we prefer that as opposed to people being apathetic towards it. And it's really, you know, it sits on the handlebars. It falls in line with it's very flush, and so the size disappears, and so you'd be surprised the amount of feedback we're getting with regard to like. People who haven't been able to read even a Roam 3, or excuse me, a Roam 2 in the past, and they've moved to the Ace, and they're like, I've been waiting for this type of bike computer forever. But your racers, yeah, you know, it's not going to be for them exactly.
There's been quite colourful feedback on the Ace on forums and.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But here's one thing to think about it: a lot of our pro teams who are using our suite of products, they're training with the Ace, right? It's just great to train with, but when they race, they move down to a Roam or a Bolt.
Yeah. But now you have the Roam, for anybody who finds the Ace too big, And the bolt too small. The perfect balance between the two.
It truly is. So the Rome's it's as feature rich as the Ace, like I said, except for that wind sensor. But you get the touchscreen, so the map navigation, stopped at a stoplight or on the trail, you're going to be able to flip to the map page and manipulate it pretty quickly with 16 million colors and high detailed maps. So
the battery runtime the same as previous units with the bolts and...
No, we've increased battery ever so slightly. And so using the auto backlight setting out of the box, the Bolt is going to be up to 20 hours, the Rome is going to be up to 25, and the Ace we've tuned up to 30 hours.
That's impressive from the Rome.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. So nice bumps in there, battery runtime as well.
Okay, and we also have radar.
Yeah, that's right. So let's show the radar light. I'll turn it off real quick. So the radar is currently connected to the Ace. I'm going to pause and the ride real quick. And the radar unit itself, it is, so there's two ways to add it to a bike. So this strap, nice little tab right there, so you can get purchase and move it around a seat post. It's easy for moving from bike to bike. But if you wanted to leave it on a bike, we've also built in a quarter turn. It's kind of secret, hidden in there. And then lastly, turn it on. And we actually have two LEDs here, right? And a couple different modes, high steady, high flash, low flash. But I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off real quick and show you one of the smart features we've added. So this bike, this radar at the moment, it's in a extremely low standby mode. And that standby mode will last up to 10 months before it drains the battery. So it's basically not using any battery, even though if we look at our Ace computer, it's on, right? It's connected to the radar. And what that allows us to do is you start your ride and it turns the radar on, right? And so you're going to have long battery life out of the modes. In a low flash mode, you're going to get up to 20 hours of battery life. And then you can stop your ride, turn it off, and it turns right back off, goes into that ultra low powered state. So for a lot of people, it's a buttonless device, right? You bring it in, you charge it once a month. You're probably riding maybe 5 hours a week. That 20 hours is going to get you a full month of charging. You put it back on your bike, you hit start and go. You actually might never need to hit the battery button or the button on the top of the back tracker radar itself.
That's pretty neat. You never have to turn it off, pretty much. You just...
never have to turn it off. It'll turn itself off, the light, which is, the largest drain of the battery, but it's always ready to go. And so you're going to reduce the need to sit on your seat post, sit behind you and, understand or try and figure out what light mode you're in. Okay. Or hold it down and then cycle through, multiple different modes.
What's the runtime on it then?
In high steady, 10 hours, low steady, 15, high flash, 15, and in low flash, 20. Okay. So.
And it has the same sort of display on the device that we're used to with.
That's right. And so you'll see right here, you see the lane on the left-hand side. We don't have any cars behind us, but cars would show up. It can detect multiple cars. And then there's actually, let me show you guys a couple settings here. It's on, and I'm going to simulate riding, and then I'm going to stop it real quick, and that'll simulate braking.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. It popped, right? And so that's your brake light. It has an accelerometer in it, and it will sense negative acceleration. And so when you hit the brakes, and it'll increase the luminosity as you're braking. There's also other couple settings in there, such as battery extender mode. And so if it doesn't recognize a car is behind you, it'll decrease the luminosity so that it increases the runtime of the unit. Only using light when you need it. In addition, there's a quick alert mode such that when a car comes into view, it'll start flashing if you so please. Those are all toggleable in the Wahoo app as well. And so for certain European jurisdictions where you can't have flashing lights, right? And they can't, there's a lot of different rules in different jurisdictions. You're going to be able to turn those modes on that might turn the light flashing or not. So it's compliant in all jurisdictions except Germany. This unit will not be available for Germany at this time. So, yeah.
Are these all available now in shops?
No, not now. So the Rome 3 and the Bolt 3, those will be available May 6th. Okay. And then the tracker radar will be available. It's coming soon. We're hoping to hit second, third week of May. Okay. We just don't have an exact date at this time.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for coming by.
Right, guys, I found a really interesting product, a gearbox from Praxis Works. It's a prototype, but the idea of a gearbox on any bike, road, gravel, or mountain bike is really exciting to me. Remove the derailleurs, the weak links, and put all the components inside a box in a frame for better weight distribution seems really exciting. So Let's go and have a closer look.
I'm Adam Haverstock and welcome to the Praxis booth. We are unveiling our HIT transmission. HIT stands for hinge because we have some hinged segments that actually change the gear. This is a gearbox, it's a prototype gearbox. So we are showing how our gearbox works, and what it is it's basically a series of what we call clusters. I'm gonna bring this back to home. This cluster is 2 gears and it works in conjunction with another cluster that's 2 gears. And I wanna be clear, this is just a prototype and we're showing a 4-speed 4 display because it's easier for everyone to comprehend and see what's happening. Basically, as the bike is pedaling, the rider's pedaling, and I'll shift it here. If you look at this first cluster, and we disabled this one so I can see, when you shift it, what happens is what you just saw, I'm gonna go back and forth, and back and forth, is this right here, is the cluster. As it is going through, we have an actuator that comes out and hits the back, and it moves one of the hinges, and it makes the big ring jump out of the way, and the chain just drops down. It's going up and down. The chain is not going side to side. And likewise, as you're riding and you go shift again, another actuator kicks out, hits the hinge, and shifts it back, and lifts the chain up into the upper gear. So this is 2 and 2, which gives you your 4 ratio. And then we have bikes back in our Santa Cruz office that we've been riding for a couple years where you add another cluster of 2, so your multipliers, now you've got an 8-speed bike. And yes, we've got a 16-speed also, where if you add another, you've got a 16-speed, all with the same setup here. We're roughly right now about the size of a mid motor, and we're using for our prototypes so we could quickly revise, we're using readily available commercial chains. So the pitch, the chain pitch is kind of the limiting factor of size on these displays and on our prototypes. So that's how it works, and you can see this, how it shifts again, up and down. And if you come to the side over here, you can see it. I'll give you the side by side. You'll see how it jumps. And so this is a gearbox made with chains and rings, and we're just doing it a different way than how some other gearboxes are done. This has been behind the scenes for about 4 or 5 years. We've been quietly revising it and riding it and revising it and riding it. But as the conversation of gear bikes has been building and building and building, we said, heck, let's just pull back the cover. Let's get in the conversation to let people know that Praxis is doing a gearbox. And so this prototype stands for a lot of our work behind the scenes and a lot of teamwork in the Santa Cruz office. And so it's been really nice to bring it out. And it's a fun thing to be a part of, showing this off at Sea Otter 2025. So that's the HIT transmission. It's a prototype gearbox based on our cluster. And again, it moves away the big ring. The chain drops down on the smaller, and then these segments move back into place for the big ring. A couple little extra things is, one of the aspects of this is, since you're not sweeping through a cassette, we've actually programmed this so you could actually do what we call like a digital dump. So like a granny gear, when all of a sudden you come upon a climb and you got to get through the gears, we don't have to do that. We programmed the downshift. You press it once and the whole segments all go to the lowest gear. So it's a digital dump in one. Right now I disabled the upper, but what happens is when you're in the tall gear, you just hold it down and you let go and it basically shifts into it. So the display's been disabled, but that's built into the software that we've been working with also. So that's some of the nice things about it. And we're basically shaking the tree to let everyone know that this is where we're at. So will this lead us to some conversations about maybe a collaboration, a partnership, some licensing? We don't know yet, we're getting there, but we wanted to show our prototype. So we're gonna take this step by step. And yes, for all the e-bike people out there, this right here, yes, we are trying to think, where does this lead us? The holy grail, how do we get it integrated with an actual e-bike mid-motor? Right now it's analog. So it started, the project is potential for downhill, because you can do a 4 and 8-speed downhill bike, but then that led us to thinking about what about commuter bikes with like an e-hub and an analog 4 up front, and then it led to what about cargo bikes? And so we're basically standing at where we've come to a plateau of development. We wanted to pause, unveil it, and then go, all right, what direction do we want to go in?
Yeah.
So
that's 4-speed, but you've done 12 and 16 back at
yeah, the 12-16 is basically the same because it's 16 ratios and there's some overlaps, just like on a regular bike where big, for example, is the same ratio generally as small. So you can turn those off in software. But that's just how the multiplier works, because when you're dealing with how this shifts, you have 2 and 2 gives you your 4, At another cluster, you're at an 8-speed. At another cluster, you're at 16-speed.
And what about range? Can you replicate range for a 2x, 1x setup?
Yeah, because right now during revision, these segments are fully removable and serviceable. So as one of our engineers has been riding every single day and changing these out, he can change this out, make it a taller gear. You can change out the middle one, make it a smaller gear. So as you see, they're all bolted on right now during this development phase, where we can hot swap these parts as we've been developing, figure out what gear ratios are good for pavement bikes like cargo and commuter, what gear ratios are good for downhill. So right now we've been doing so many different revisions, and we had to pause and say, let's show it.
So what's the story behind it?
Yeah, so it's the Topeak TurboFlow valve. It's a new tubeless valve system that's designed to increase airflow by up to 300%. It's a new tubeless valve with a new head. And we also have introduced a new pump head called the Rapid Head. Works very similarly to a chuck head. So when you lock it on, you've increased the bore of the diameter that you're pushing air through. And because of that, it's just a lot easier to push air than through a standard Presta valve or with a standard pump head. And it'll be available later this year, maybe in like October, available for US customers. Available either as a whole new tubeless valve kit or as an adapter that will go on a standard Presta valve.
So it's just a top bit we're talking about. That goes on any...
It'll be available as a
Regular
whole kit with a valve stem or as just an adapter.
Okay, so
both will be available.
So the bore of the valve stem is the same as regular?
No, it's actually a little bit different, but it's cross-compatible that I could put this on a regular Presta valve head. The outer diameter is the same. The inner diameter is bigger, just because it's a thinner wall on this.
Okay. And it works with a normal pump head, or do you need your special pump head?
It works with normal pump heads, but you get more benefit using the special rapid head.
Okay, yeah.
So it is cross-compatible with the standard Presta valve or with a standard pump head. But again, it's designed to be the most benefit when you use the whole TurboFlow plus rapid head system.
Do you know pricing yet? Is that TBC?
Yeah, especially now, TBD, but I think the aim is to have the TurboFlow valve kit available for around $30.
Okay. Fantastic. Well, thanks for sharing. It's very,
Thank you for stopping by.
It looks very simple, but very useful to make inflating tyres easier.
Yeah.
Just make life easier for cyclists. And
That's the goal, and specifically, it's just about reducing the effort to do that, and it also will help with seating tubeless tires because you're pushing more volume of air through, and with reducing clogging that you get from sealant in a smaller barrel.
Yeah. And also the benefit if you get a puncture out riding, you've got a tiny mini pump, you get more air in more quickly.
Exactly. So benefits all around of having more airflow.
Yeah. More airflow, better.
Yes.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
So Vittoria have a new naming convention for their tyres, and they go by the grade of gravel, starting with 0, 10 for smooth dirt and a semi-slick, going all the way up through T30, T50 for rough stuff, all the way up to T90 for mud, the UK tyre for that. Kind of makes sense, really. Choose your terrain, grade of gravel, and then choose your tyre. But they are the same tyres as before. There's your naming conventions down below, but now they're new names. So Logan, new inner tubes.
Yes, we are at the Aeron TPU stand at Sea Otter. Aeron is a new brand that is part of the RTI group, which is the parent company that also owns Ergon, grip, saddles, etc. Aeron is a brand solely focused on the production of TPU inner tubes, high performance TPU inner tubes, dependable TPU inner tubes, strong, etc., etc. Our first product that we'll be bringing to market is this one. It is the Aeron Superlight Race. One of the really cool things about the Superlight Race product, besides it being our lightest weight and our smallest packable inner tube, is that it is using an aluminum valve stem. That gives us a couple of really great benefits over TPU. It's going to be stronger, of course, but it also has a removable valve core. So if somebody wants to run a specific valve extender, sealant gets gunked in there, if they're doing something like that, you know, they're able to service it. Of course, the tubes themselves will be repairable as well. So overall, it's just a really high-end product. These will be the first products that we're bringing to market. We also have a slightly thicker, more robust, and then a super robust tube called our Ultra Protect. Those will be coming available later this year, but the super light race from Aeron TPU will be available in May, both in the US, UK, Germany, etc. These are being made in Austria. We have a really great relationship with our factory there, and we're trying to develop the best TPU inner tubes that can be developed. So we are at the Ortlieb booth now. We have our new handlebar / crossbody bag called the Velo Sling. As with all Ortlieb products, it is made in Germany. It is RF welded, so it is completely watertight. Uses a really clever roll closure. Has an internal pocket. Be easily opened and closed with one hand. This one is set up in handlebar mode, so it uses our short O-strap TPU straps with the foam pads act as sort of a spacer, so you can get your hand still wrapped around your handlebars without the bag taking up all the space. Extra draw cord to just sort of add that so it doesn't swing out wrapped around the head tube. And like I said, it's also a crossbody bag, so it comes with another strap that can be pushed through the weld holes there and easily transformed into a crossbody bag, a handlebar bag. It also comes with some daisy chain holes, so you can, where there's another set of straps, so you can carry a jacket actually on the outside of the crossbody bag, which is super, super useful. These are available now. The price point's $95 US. They're 3 liters. Like I said, it's Ortlieb, so everything's made in our factory in Germany. Waterproof, durable, built to last.
And a range of colours to choose from?
Yeah, we have this one in black.
Okay.
Yeah.
Two colours. I do like the colour. It's a nice shade.
Yeah, we call that dark sand.
Dark sand, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
This bag here is a new bag for us. It's called Dry Pack. It's a relatively simple design, but it's dual roll closure on either side. Similar to the CPAC QR I just showed you, it has the air escapement valve, so you can squeeze the air out of it. It comes with our O-straps these are actually specifically designed to work with a rack. So those just clip on. They adjust on both sides, so you get a really strong attachment. And then this rack that it's on is actually our quick rack. And I don't know if you've ever seen this, Dave, but it's designed to install and remove from bikes in 10 seconds. So these little pylons down here attach to a fender mount, and those will stay on the bike. So for riders who, maybe they have one bike that they commute on during the week and they want to get a little bit more sporty on the weekends, they can just take the top down, but it installs and removes in no time at all. This piece up here just attaches to the C-post or the C-tube, depending on how the bike is set up and where you have best clearance. But again, once you get it adjusted and dialed in, it installs and removes in no time.
Is that one on the bike behind you? Is that the same?
Yep.
So is this a new rack? Would it been out for a while?
It's been out for a couple of years.
Okay.
Two years, I want to say. It's a super clever design. So this is a CPAC QR. It's a 13-liter CPAC, as you can see. Uses a roll closure end. Really cool part about it is the interface with the saddle is really secure using injected molded plastic pieces, but it's also very quickly and easily removed. So these loosen on the sides, and then these little clips come up. And so that is how it attaches to the saddle. You adjust this fore and aft to get it aligned with your saddle rails and the seat post so that it gets a really tight fitment. This piece is used just for dropper posts so that you're not pressing this up against your dropper post, and it also acts as like a stopper so it's not dropping. And then it has a plastic shield on the bottom as well for mountain bikers. You know, if you are getting some tire rub there, it also acts as a stabilizer. So when you compress everything, it kind of pulls everything tight. Additionally, it has a bleed valve, an air escapement valve that pull it out and squeeze air out, close it, and you're good to go.
So on a normal seat post, that bracket is not required.
don't
That
need that.
goes straight onto seat post.
Totally. Yeah, exactly.
So 3 straps and it's removed in seconds.
Yep.
Super quick. So you get to campsite
Totally.
and it comes off that easily.
Yeah, it takes some setup time to get these adjusted correctly.
That's a one-time
But
setup.
it's a one-time setup. Yeah. Like I said, I have not been practicing this, so I'm not going to be the
We're not
fastest
judging
at
you.
it.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Because it's supported.
I fade to black.